lot of this happens on the Royal Yacht Britannia, when it's in St. John's Harbour. After the press and the dignitaries go home, Vince will slip aboard, like all the crew know him. And he goes down to the Queen's apartment, and she'll be sitting there with her shoes off and her feet up on a worn-out old wing-back chair. And now, the thing that makes it so believable is the fact that the whole thing is such a burden to him. And the details he goes into, like the picture he paints of himself, bleary-eyed, coming down the gangplank in the wee hours of the morning. The sun rising over Cabot Tower, the burden of the empire off his shoulders for another day. Hopping into a Bugden's taxi, hoping desperately that the cabbie won't notice that little regal hand waving through the porthole. Vince now is nearly 90, and he worked for one of the big merchants downtown all his life. So consequently, he's not exactly burdened with too much pension. So he only occasionally makes it over to Buckingham Palace these days. Now, there's never any mention in the papers of Vince being there, but then again, he shudders at the thought of publicity. And the royal family respect that, as do their guests. Only the Beatles, he told me, stepped over the line. And after he'd met them at Buckingham Palace, they showed up on his doorstep in St. John's a couple of days later. Apparently, he was sitting there at his little chrome table when all of a sudden, a knock come onto the door. He got up and he went over and he opened up the door. And standing there was John, Paul, George and Ringo with a bottle of rum. He said he nearly had a heart attack. But they were no trouble, he said. They had a bit of lunch and a few drinks, and then they hired a taxi and went down to the Marine Drive. He said he had liked to get mad at Ringo a few times for acting a fool, but in the end he made him laugh in spite of himself. The Beatles, he told me, just won't let you take yourself seriously. I don't think that he ever heard what happened to John, so I didn't bother to tell him. Anyway, they went out to the Pioneer Drive-In for a few hamburgers, and the Beatles were gone before he knew it.